over to track 2. There you go. So everyone should be able to hear it now. Can you guys hear that? Nice. That would have actually transitioned for you guys, I just realised that. You should be able to hear everything now. Hopefully you can hear me. Hey. Whoop whoop. That was annoying. So I've just been speaking to myself for the last 10 minutes, which is amazing. So yeah, today we're going to be working on the next tutorial. It's going to be an advanced structure tutorial. And this structure tutorial, basically we're going to generate like a structure, a bit like a stronghold with randomized rooms and random sizes and stuff like that. But in order to get the code for generating, I'm going to write it in Python and then transpose it over to Java, just because it's easier and it'll be easy to understand, I hope. Hopefully. And at the moment, I've just set up Pygame underneath, right here. And now I'm going to set up some cells to draw, because I said that the window is going to be split up into different cells. So, like, it's going to be split up in different cells, which are the different blocks. I've got to add a list. So column equals a list, and then column dot append, and then it's going to be a cell. The x and y will be x, y, and then that's going to be times by cell size. And that will add that. And then underscore cells dot append the column. And then that should generate the cells. And then if we draw cells, now I'm gonna have to do the draw cells after this, or before. I think draw cells, and gonna take in the cells. So cells, for cell in cells, or it'd be actually for column in cells. I think I'm going to rename this. How do I rename? Is there a shortcut? Shift F6. I'm going to call it grid. Will the stream be uploaded on YouTube? Yes, the stream is actually currently on YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. So that's why you can see over here a mixture of YouTube comments and that lot. Which I think is really awesome that we can actually do that. I really like that. That's just me, but yeah. Generate, change that, so that's Shift F6, that's the button, yeah. So generate and grid. How's it with latency? Are you guys quite behind me? Or what? For cell in column, and then we're simply going to do cell.draw. We need to take in the surface. Cell.draw, and it takes in surface, and that should do it. So if I do draw grid actually, and draw grid, and surface, or screen, and then that should work, maybe. Object non-type is not iterable. I'm an idiot. Return grid, and I'm just gonna say, oh, actually leave that. And okay, invalid rect style object. Hi Striker. What do you mean in invalid rectile? What? Surface.fill. Surface dot. Would it screen dot fill. Here we go. Let's Google it. And then it's going to be surface fill Pygame. Let's have a look. Pygame surface. Nice. Okay, it's got Blitz, which is for an image. Fill, that's the one I want. So fill, colour, and then it's rect. Ah, that's white. So if I go over to here, if I move to rect after the colour, after that, that should make it a black screen. And like so, that should make it a black screen, right? Yes, it did. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure this is working, so import random. And then the colour will be random dot rand int between between 0 and 255. And that should work. And that should give us like a bright array of colours. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, don't you just think that's beautiful? Look at that. Actually, that's going to give me a headache. Oh, I just realised it's generating a new one every... I mean, I guess that's cool. I know, would you class that as cool? I mean, we can tell it's working now. That's going to give me a headache as well. So let's not keep that on for too long. That's exactly how I want it, actually. So, at the moment, watch Pygame reformat. There you go, mate. Are you happy? Sweet. What I want to do is I want to make it so I can draw tiles on the screen. So, this is a cell, but that's just like a default. So, what I might do is raise not implemented error, and cut that. And I'm going to create a class and call it room cell. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do the interaction. Like, would it be like a click and drag thing? Like you select an area. I guess that could work. For now, let's leave that on, not with a randomness. So with well, I can set self.color equals, and then copy this. Copy that. Self.color, and then Control Alt Shift L. Reformat whole file. Nice. And that should mean we just don't keep. There you go. And you don't wreck everyone's eyes with that. So that's a single framed one. So that's pretty cool. But I'm gonna just comment that out actually, and then oh, that's not the comment. Oh, I swear I pressed. Oh, you, United Kingdom, please. Rude. Self.color equals, and then just gonna say to black, so 0, 0, 0, and I'll change the color when we click on it. So def clicked, and then when we click on it, or like hovered, or hovering, that's a better name. So if we are hovering, start hover. We're like hovering self.color equals, and then if we're hovering, I'm gonna make it white. And if we're not, end hover or something like that. And then I'll reset back to 0. Nice. Let's have a look at who's watching. I love doing this. So, got no one on. So, everyone's watching off YouTube. So, I actually decided. Can you hear that motorbike in the distance? That's great. I actually decided to stream on all 3 platforms, so that if you guys have a preference as to which platform you like, you can actually choose like which platform you want to use when I'm streaming. So hopefully that's a good idea. If not, I can just stick to YouTube or whatever you guys prefer. Let me know your thoughts about that if you can. Can I like? Oh, I can block users. That's not what I want. I was wondering like the stream stuff over here. So let's detect hovering, and I need the grid to be passed in here. And what I need to do is x y equals pygame.mouse.getPos. And then I've got to get the right one, so I divide it using integer division. Okay, so x divide. Can I just slash I build a structure generator using Pygame and Python. Yes, I am. I'm going to create this generator on Pygame, so we hopefully by the end of this we'll have like loads of different rooms attached to each other. And then I'm going to transpose that into the Java version. My equals height. And obviously people will be able to use this afterwards. I'm just going to print what's the x and y that it's giving me. So what grid coordinate? Actually, that should be a method. Def get grid coordinate. And I'll take in x and y. Return x width, y height, and that should work. And then I should be able to do get grid coordinates of that. Pos, that'll be a tuple. So pos 0. And that's a pos 1. Nice. I do love these songs, honestly. I love Toby. We're just going to detect hovering and take in a grid. And then that should give me 0, 0. It's brilliant. We're using multiple platforms, you can get partnered to one. What do you mean by partnered? Well, that clearly didn't work. So I'm just trying to think. So if I just print out the regular x and z, so I'll just print it out like this for now, and I want to see what coordinates is it giving me. So that's 600, 600 bottom right. Okay. So if it's 600, 600, if I do integer division of the height, the width, and then the height, surely that should work and give me the right grid reference. If I do that, that won't work, will it? Or will it? So it's giving me... That's how full it is. That's why. So that's out of the height. How do I do that? No, if I do... If I do slash slash and then cell size, that would work, right? That should work. And that should give us the correct... Yeah. I think that's going to work. So, grid at the x and the y, dot, and then we're going to do hovering, set it to hovering, and then, oh, that's cool, that's quite cool. Whoa, look at that. That's really awesome, actually. And I love using constants like this. So we can set it to 1 and make it have a load and it will crash it. Probably, yeah. So if you make it a bit bigger, 3 should work. I mean, look at that. You can just see how often it's tracing it. And we can also detect when it's pressed. So that's the hover done. Other than the fact that when we're not hovering, if I do from main import tool, in the hovering we should also check whether we are still hovering. So if get grid coordinates and then pygame.mouse.get pos, I'm just going to do pos equals partner to certain platform means you only use that and you get perks like emotes in Twitch. And there seems to be like a 5-minute delay, which is pretty bad. What's OBS saying? Is OBS delayed? Oh, it doesn't show that it's delayed, so if the x is the same as our x, so if the x would be pos 0 if that's equal to our x to self.x, and pos 1 is equal to self.y if they are if they're not the same. So if not, and then if I put that in brackets, what you're making, because I think you may have mistitled the stream. What's the stream titled? It should be working on tutorial, because it's confusing people because I'm not in Java a lot. This is actually Python, and the reason I'm doing it in Python is so that I can make the generator code for the next tutorial. That's what we're actually working on today. Yeah. So self.endHover. So as long as it's over it, it'll keep doing it, and then so this should. Well, that's brilliant. I can tell that's definitely working. Well, that's great. He's got me. He's got me. So it's not that bad. It's only like a 30-second delay. If I'm gonna print pos, and I'm gonna print self.x and self.y. So where does it think we are? So the pos is that, and the x and the y. Cell size, I'll put it back to 10, so it's nice big cells. So that's 42. So this is in like real thing, not grid coordinates. I was seeing a kinda I see. So these should actually be grid coordinates when I initialize it. Really, so def get screen coordinates, and then it's going to be like pos, and then that's going to return pos 0 times cell size and pos 1 times cell size, and then I can call that in here. So so the actual position that is entered in self.x and self.y should be correct, shouldn't it? I'm going to print x and y here when it's generating, so that should spew out a load. So So the self.x and self.y are not correct. Yeah, so we're setting it to 59.59. That's correct. So why is the self.x and self.y not that? That's why. We're actually already converting it. So, yeah. Okay, so we don't convert it. And then what we do is this should be get screen coordinates of x and y. They should be in a bracket like that. Self.x. Slef. Self.x and self.y. Get screen coordinates. Unresolved red. Main dot. Yeah, well, I was wondering why that was confused. Oh yeah. I'm not actually sure about that question, whether it's going to be just in Python. I mean, I will upload a Python version of it probably to GitHub, and I'll probably release an exe if I figure out how to do that. That's annoying. Screen parse equals, and then just do that. Do that, and then it's screen parse 0, screen parse 1, and then that should work. No, it's not taking it off when I'm not hovering, because the X is the same. But the thing is, though, hovering's only getting called when it's on it. When it's not on it, it's not getting called. So we sort of need to check, you know, after a certain amount of time, are we actually still hovering? Self.hovered equals false. That might not like that. Because you got a hovering variable. Is hovering. There you go. Or are hovering. Yeah, I just think hovering sounds better. And then when it's hovering, we do self.hovering equals true. That's going to cause an error, I just know it is. So that's going to set it to true. And then in a draw, which really should be the update as well, we're going to check, are we still hovering? So def check hovering. There we go, and this will check the hovering. Self.hovering. Actually, I don't actually need this. Actually, yeah, self.hovering equals false. And if we are hovering, we're going to check. So if self.hovering, I don't like it. It's got the same name. Shift F6. Hover. Yes. So if self.hover, if we are hovering, so we're gonna check hovering. So self.check hovering. Check hovering, and then we can set to false. And that's what I wanted. Brilliant. So that's the one we've got currently selected. And when you left click, it needs to stay there. Is the idea. So if we left click it, it will leave that cell as it is. So def detect click. Again, do that. Def clicking, so it'll run while it's being clicked. When we click, self dot color equals self dot clicked equals true. Now to cause a war, IntelliJ is the best editor, right? No comment. No, I don't mind IntelliJ now, so I don't mind it. It's pretty decent. It's got some cool things that Eclipse doesn't have, but I do like what Eclipse looks like. So there we go. We've got that set up like so. Now I'll do the clicked stuff. So we need to check whether they got it down. So mouse, so button equals pygame dot mouse dot get pressed. If button is equal to it's like Notepad is the best. Notepad plus plus. You know, got a little bit of Notepad plus plus. I believe if it's a 1, it's a right click, it's a left click. No, 0 is a left click. Well, I'm just gonna do either. So if it is, if button, I'll just print what the button is actually. So I know what it is, and then detect click, and then it should say like, oh, that's great of me, grid. There we go, run that. So it puts one of them to 1. Okay, that makes sense ish. So if button 0 is equal to 1, that's a left click. Left underscore click. The current project is going to be a structure generator. I'm making it in Python just because it's easier, so I can like figure out the code to generate it. Like one of the biggest issues is when it comes to the doors of stuff. You want to make sure the doors line up, but you don't want to mess it up. Setting the substitute all features of Eclipse as it has a lot of settings. Yeah, I'm not saying anything about this. I'm not going to start. Yeah, we're going to be generating a structure in Python, and then we're going to put it into Java. I hope that makes sense. The reason why I'm making it in Python is I don't have to worry about the third dimension at the moment. I can start basic and then build it up. And also, I think it's quite cool to do in Python. I like Python. So I'm going to do a left click. And in here, raise. Well, I don't actually have anything. Just pass. There you go. Def middle click, and then that's just going to pass it, and then def right click, and then that's just going to pass it as well. Okay. And to be fair, I'm going to leave that at the moment. So if it's a left click, we're going to get which one it's clicking on. So this one, so X and Y, and then grid X and Y dot, and then clicking is set, so we are clicking something, but we're also going to do if any of these are true, we're going to run clicking. So if button 1 is equal to 1, or button 2 is equal to 1, then we're just going to say we are clicking a button. If button 0 is equal to 1, then the grid pause is going to be a left click. The thing is that you want to do it, and then if we're clicking, we want to just suddenly stop. So if we're already clicking, this will be git right as I am. You can't understand it. Yeah, it's not that hard. I don't think. This will be git right. Yeah, I'll put it on GitHub. Yeah, this will be git. I haven't actually set that up yet. I probably should do that, to be honest. But whatever. If we're not already clicking, so and grid X Y is not already. Oh, that's grid X Y dot clicked is. If we're not already clicking, so basically I'll only call this. So if I can actually put that here, if not grid clicked, if not, yeah, that's what I wanted, and tab indent that. So that's a left click. If button 1 equals 1, that's a middle mouse click. And then if button 2 equals 1, that's a right click. And then what we need to do, see, you're going to click on it, and are we still clicking? Well, it'll only call clicking. I don't need this, the end click, because you won't need to detect when you stop clicking, really, because it just won't get called. Or well, actually, no, I can do it, but this will only get called if we're clicking, and if we detect whether we're hovering, we'll end hover, and then self dot will also end click, so we'll no longer be clicking on as. Yeah, so self dot clicked equals false. Okay, selfs, there you go. That should do it. If it's not already clicked, so that it'll call them once. So I'm just gonna print left click and middle click, right click. Oh yay! 2 people watching, and both are off YouTube. Nice. We're still clicking, so I don't think it should be an internal thing. So we're not going to do that. It's if I do Control Alt Shift L, nice. And that should do the different clicks. Where did clicking go? Oh, here. So if either of them are pressed, we'll call that clicking. But you see how I hold it down and it's holding it down. And that's not exactly what I want. I want it to be called once. So this is where I'm going to need a variable up here, last click. Or last buttons. And it's just going to be 0, 0, 0. And then the last buttons equals button. Refractor. And that's just going to be buttons. So that will update the last buttons. If that's equal to 1 and last buttons, last pause equals 0, 0, will actually be a -1. And then here we do last pause at the end, actually. Last pause equals X, Y. And then we're going to check if the button is pressed and the last button's like thing for this one is has not been pressed, so it's not already been called. We're gonna have to global these. I hate doing globals. Last buttons, last pause. So if the last button wasn't already pressed, and so if the last button, if that's equal to 1 and the last button isn't pressed, otherwise, or, and then it's going to be the last pause is not equal to this pause, so last pause or last pause 0 is not equal to. So if it's the same position, it should not do it. Global equal public. Sort of. It's basically you know how like in a method like they have local variables. So for example, buttons is only accessible in this method here. Well, I've got these outside of it, so they're known as global because it's outside the scope of the method. And that's why there. Yeah. And I'm going to make that and not, and then do that equals 0. And then if I add that to these, that should work. 1, 2. That should do what I want it to do. Left click. Left click, it's not calling it. Oh, because the last pause will be the same. The last pause will be the same. That's the issue. Yeah, but like, if the last pause button is 1, well, it's not 1. So that would be true. Not true. And that would be false. But these would be the same. So var has to be declared with global if the Sort of. I mean, it's basically so that I can change them. Otherwise, it'll think it's a local variable that I'm changing or initializing. So, that's the only reason I've got that. To be global. Hopefully that works. It's not working. That's brilliant. Okay. So what I'm going to do is print last pause and last buttons. That's so weird. So if I print out last pause and then if I print out X, Y, and then buttons, so you can see what they are now. So previously it's that, and let's have a look. So before it's that, so it must have been on the same one. Literally, I only wanted to call it once. Is there a single one where it's... So this one is different. So that one should have called it. Not really, well, it wasn't one. Okay, this one had it on one. Look here. These are two different ones. If the position is different... So actually, I don't have to do that. If that or last pause is equal to then X, Y. Like so. Hopefully that works. And yay, I've got one viewer. Nice. And that's most likely Striker. Probably. That's a good guess if it is. And I don't see any clicking going on. So, yep, it is Striker. How did I guess? I need one where it's changed. So, see, this is 2534, now this is 2434. That should have picked up. So, if it is equal to 1, yes, that is equal to 1. And previously, yeah, to be fair, if it was Java, people would have tuned in. Yeah. I might just end up making this off camera, to be fair. Well, I'm doing a pure stream just for Striker right now. Yeah. Suppose that's not a bad idea. Oh, someone else joined. That's weird. It's not showing up that you're on. Qbox. Hello. A lot of people are really confused about why I'm on Python. I probably should have put it somewhere in the description. Probably. Or somewhere in the title. Maybe. Would have been a good idea. I don't know. Possibly. And let's see. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. I need one where it changes. And it's on. When I joined, there were 8 people on. Yeah, there were. Well, that's really depressing. So, okay, so this should have changed. This one and this one are the same, so that shouldn't have changed. And this one and this one are the same, so that wouldn't have changed. I feel like this is just really messy. If I removed a bit on the end and go back to the drawing board, let's think about how this should work. I want it to run once but it won't know when it's not been clicked. But I know the last position, and I know what the buttons were last. So we're going to check if it is equal to that, and the last pause is not the same. And last pause is not the same as the current pause, so X and Y. So that should be halfway there. So it will run once for this position, basically. So I have to literally move and then press left click. So that's right. If the last position isn't the same, so we need to check if that is the same and the last position isn't the same. Or the button wasn't pressed before. So or the button wasn't pressed before, so buttons 0 equals 0, so last buttons actually. That should do it. Possibly. If this works, that's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's try it out. Left click, right click, right click, right click. Okay, because printing this so much, it's like, let's try. So left click, left click, left click. Okay, that's weird. That's good. I'm just moving it. I'm dragging and it's calling a load of left clicks. That is correct. Right click, middle click. Calling 2 clicks at once. Going all 3. That's really awesome. Nice. So what they'll do is when we click self.color, see at end hover, self.changed equals false. Okay. If self.changed, so it hasn't changed into like the special type, so it hasn't been pressed before. Oh, that doesn't work. Yeah, I remember. And now the middle click too. Yes, it all works. It's great. So if it's not already changed, then we won't. So if it's not changed, then we won't do it. If we left click, self.changed equals self.changed, like not self.changed, so that'll toggle it. And then if self.changed is true, then self.color, and that is going to equal to a random color, so random.rand int between 0 and 255, and do that 3 times. Control C, Control V, Control V. That should do it. So left click, left click, left click, left click. Oh yes. Oh wow, look at that, look at that. Oh my days, we're pixel painting. But if I go over the same ones again, oh nice. That's like really awesome. I like that. That's so cool. Hey, you're right, dog. That's so cool. Oof, why you use Python? It's for the tutorial, mate. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a bit rude. I don't like your rudeness. Great. Yeah, I know we're screwed now. Dog's on. Alrighty. I'm going to change it to constant. Yash, I'm good. Clearly not that good at English. I want it in exe and Linux. Look at this. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm going to remove the like print. That's going to annoy me. Why don't you like Python? What's wrong with Python? It's a good language. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I mean, it's totally what we're going to be doing today. I just remember the default color, because I'm actually filling the background in. I don't need to fill the background in if they've already got like a color. So if we make that red, that's what I wanted it to be. And there we go. Look at that. That's actually very red. I actually preferred it black. In all fairness. And if I right click, it's not doing anything. It's messy and hard to read. Sure it is. I love that. Oh my days. That's amazing. So if I trace it slowly, I can draw things. I don't actually know what I'm drawing. It's going to end up being a CJ. Is it me, or does it appear like a load of them are white? Did I mess up something? A random colour? No, that's correct. So we can now left click. And now I need to do left click and drag. Or like, it's going to toggle what it is. So it's going to be part of the room. Looks like a circle. So what I want to make it do is, hold on, if I redraw that. Def white. Yeah, that's. Oh, it's what? It's to hover. That's why. Yes, there you go. That's it. Here, and hover. Self.hover equals false. Actually, that should be in here and not there. Same with the clicked. So end click should now be self.clicked equals false. Okay. And then if I draw now, it should all be right. There we go. That's really awesome. I don't actually know exactly what I'm drawing, but if we go over it again, it's not untoggling it. Else here. Oh yeah, because it wouldn't untoggle. Self.color equals 0, 0, 0. Nice. And then, so if I go over it again, it removes it. That's quite cool, actually. So if I make the size to something like 50, which is, was it like that before? Is it like massive now? Look at that. Oh, I'm absolutely loving this. Look at that. Wow. And then I can unpaint it. Because it just simply toggles it. Okay, let's add a key binding to clear. Well, actually, let's not do that. Because if I change this cell size to like 10 again. The idea is that you're going to draw a room and save it as a file. So, like, that's not a room. I was going to control Z and I can't control Z. But let's say this is a room. Oh, I've toggled that one. So let's say that's a room and I want to save that as a JSON file. So that's what I'm actually going to work on now. So if I make a new directory and call it room, that's I put 4 roof backwards rooms, and in here we're gonna have some JSON files. So 4x4 JSON, and then like each room is gonna like have like size. Oh no, JSON. Oh, so width will be 4 and the height will be 4. DN data is bare, sure it is. The color, and then we can set that to an RGB color. I believe I can do tuples. So that's just going to be 0, 0, 255. No, I can't apparently. If I make it an array, yeah, it's amazing. So that's like a basic premises of a room, like what the file should be like, and we should be able to read it. Do not dare offend the D&D. The do not disturb, definitely, that's what you meant. So we're doing a 4x4, and I want to be able to like save it. So like have a selection thing maybe. I mean, to be honest, I could just write it in Python. So let's just make it so I can load it. Def load room, and then file path, and then the grid as well, so I can set the grid appropriately. Hi, the test mod. He's over on Twitch. So I've now got a viewer on Twitch, I believe. That's so cool. I love being able to have multiple different places. It even has its own website, diversion.net/bin. Yeah. So what we're going to do is, data is JSON, so now I need to import JSON. JSON, that we go. Import, so JSON.loads, and literally just file path. So that's the data that we've loaded. So sexy. What? And for now we've got to make. Well, I know it's going to be an int. So for x in range, data width. I need to actually give it x and a y. Where's it going to load it? That's like so dx, yeah, and then for dy in range, data height. So we can loop through the whole of that area. I'm going to add it so if dx plus dy plus x is less than like the width divided by the cell size, so like the size of it. If it is, then we just wants me to make sure the y is as well, and dy add y is less than height divided by cell size. And then what do we do now? What we're going to do now? We've got all the dx to dy, so then we literally do grid x plus dx, y plus dy, dot, and then we want to. I'm just going to toggle it so dot color, and then that is equal to data. I can't see my keyboard now. Color. Fish. Cool. And then that should overwrite the color of it to whatever color that we set here, which was blue, I believe. I'm not sure if that will work. We can try, but I think that's gonna make a list. Let's just try it. So we're going to load room. When we're going to load the room, we'll do a key event actually. So if event.type is equal to key down, and if event.key is equal to k_l, so we're going to be loading. What we're going to do is load room. The file path is just room / 4x4.json. Then it wants the grid, and then it wants use your stream on D. What? The x and y is just going to be mouse.get pos 0. Oh, sugar. and that should load the room at wherever the mouse is. So the mouse is here. L. Crash. Booyah. JSON expecting value at line 1, column 1. Oh, that's cool. Dog, we already had this debate earlier with what's his name? Striker. That's it. How did I forget his name? Apparently I can't read JSON correctly. What line did it crash on? Data. Oh, what? Expecting value. What is it? It is a value. Agreed with you. I never said anything. You'll have to rewatch the stream to find out. I've gone into the decoder. That's great. Striker. Striker knows. Striker knows what happened. Yeah, it's gonna be a VOD on Twitch, Mixer, and everything else. I love looking at these. We've got 2 and 4. It's nice. So apparently I can't load a JSON correctly, which is amazing. Thank you for that. Greatly appreciated. I feel like that's... Is that why? L. Crash. No, the JSON file. Limo. Save JSON. I can't save the JSON. It's like a JetBrains product. You can't save in JetBrains. That makes sense. Why don't you like it? Oh, I know. Oh, I'm an idiot. I have to do open, and then file path, and then the read-write type is R. Oh, I can't believe I didn't even do that. And then L. Okay. We got further than before, which is good. YT-VOD is readily available. What? What? Python JSON load file. Nice. Stack Overflow me, please. Yeah. I think yeah. With data. Yes, I know. Wow, you such smart. Reading JSON. That, yeah, it is open read. That's right, yeah. JSON, JSON loads Python. Here we go. The JSON. This might actually help me. Java is better than Python. I'm not going to disagree. I never said I agreed either, but the thing is, though, at college we have to use this, so I sort of need to get into it a little bit. Where's my loads? Control F, loads. Oh, it's right there. How did I miss that? That's great. JSON.loads, yeah. Yeah, like we don't really have a choice at college which one we do. If I do loads, and it should bring it off down here. Whoa. Loads, yes. Well, surely open. Do I have to .read or something? Whoa. That's rude. String not list. Dot join. There we go. Wait, college is greater than 11th grade. What does 11th grade mean? Okay, we don't get a crash. What's 11th grade? It's like, I'm year 12 now. reformat. I'm just gonna random dot randint. Year 11 is 15 to 16. Yeah. Placing. He is correct. Well done, doggo. Okay, so it's not working. Print dx dy. L. Yeah, it's gonna go 3 to 3. Oh, I need to add 1. So 0 to that. Will that include? No, oh, it's gonna be 1 to that, including that. That isn't what I wanted. That's brilliant. If I add 1, we do college. Yeah, because like I know Americans call college high school. What college you go to? Am I going to tell you? You'll probably send yes. I bet you. Oh, I'm an idiot. I know why. If I put a pause. Oh, I am going to tell you, am I? You're hoping. I ain't going to tell you what college you go to. Get grid coordinates, pause. And there we go. And load. X is not defined. Yeah, boy. Oh, yeah, that actually makes sense, yeah. Oops. Oops. Pause. 0. Yes, or I can say 2 words. I'm not going to tell you, and you're not going to say those 2 words. This is where I'm just going to block him off the chat. Yeah, mate, this is where... Bruh. Block user. And then it's pause 0. Pause 1. Load. Oh my days, it worked. Oh yes. 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 Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hey. Hey. That's amazing. Nice. So, I should actually move that onto a right click. I think. Like, select a random file from the folder and then right click. Maybe. I mean, for now, that's great. So, what other rooms would we have? Copy. That's the burn. A 10x10. So that's 10x10. Let's add 255 there. Let's make that a 10x10.json. Oof, yes. Okay, then nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hello, mysterious devs. Look at that. And I can even colour on top. That's so cool. Okay. I mean, that's not how it's going to be in the end, but we've now made it so we can load any room in, which is great. Now, each room should have a door position. But, so like, you'd have to have, oh, thank you, some doors. Then it'd be like a list. So if I do enter, oh, it adds a comma for you. That's amazing. That is amazing. Woucher. That's really cool, actually. But I think that's actually where I'm going to leave it for today. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say ta-ra. And yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Aye.